Live yet? I think we're live. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I am 26 minutes late. I wanted to get started at 1:30. I had a wonderful phone call with my mother talking about the state of the economy, Civil War history, and the markets. Very exciting time. If you're in the stock market, very exciting time. If you're not in the stock market, maybe think about getting into the stock market someday. Even if you don't have money, just pay attention. Just log on to CNBC, look at what the ticker's doing, make it a game. Imagine Monopoly money, 500 Monopoly dollars, put it on Exxon, put 500 on Google, and just track it for fun. If you're bored in this time. Today's coffee provided by Starbucks, provided by me. I just drove through Starbucks drive-through line and got some iced coffee, and it is high octane stuff. Did some shopping. Today we're going to be painting some more. This is the commission that I've been working on with B&O Train Man. Got him plugged into the city of Baltimore. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready for July 4th weekend. So it is fun to talk about the Stars and Stripes and some Civil War history. As maybe some of you know, I have been deeply engrossed in the Ken Burns documentary, The Civil War, 1990. It's got some great voice acting involving Morgan Freeman, some Garrison Keillor before he wasn't cool anymore. Dude from Prairie Home Companion. I liked him. I guess he had a Me Too thing. I don't know the details of it, but he no longer makes Prairie Home Companion. There's a movie about it, and Lindsay Lohan was in it. The Prairie Home Companion movie. He had a good voice, though. And then there's a few other characters. I think Jeremy Irons does some voice acting. Man, I love his voice. Jeremy Irons. My favorite role of his, probably the villain in Live Free or Die Hard. That's not right. Live Free or Die Hard was like Die Hard 5. It was Die Hard 3. Die Hard with a Vengeance? As soon as Brandon comes in, I'm going to ask him what was the title of Die Hard 3. We got a Airbus made a Eurocopter, not Airbus, Eurocopter, Baltimore police helicopter we're going to be drawing up. We're going to be doing the lettering for that today. We're going to be doing some paint overs. We got little bits of the Visionary Art Museum, the Domino Sugar thing. We got Federal Hell, needs some officers painted in. We got crabs, we got dinosaurs, we got the USS Constellation, we got dolphins with laser beams, we got the USS Taurus, we got the aquarium, and we got the Electric Factory power plant monster. Getting crazy and getting into a fight with a giant Oriole launching orange bombs at him. We got so many things to work on today. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming amount of cool things going on in this painting, and it's going to take forever to do, but it's worth it. Let's get the Baltimore PD helicopter work done. If you're coming in, say hi, give me a like, give me a shout, say what up, so I know you're here, and I will say hi back. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know how the stream is, how I sound. I am in the market for a better headset microphone. Something that has a little fluffy mic that looks like what Joe Rogan wears when he's doing a UFC podcast or commentary, because I'm realizing that when I turn my head this way, I don't sound as good as when I turn my head and talk to you this way. So even though I like the look of the broadcast where I'm not looking at the monitor all the time, I'm looking away, it doesn't sound as good. And this microphone's garbage. This is garbage. I love me some Logitech, but I just chose the cheapest headphones, and I wish I didn't. I wish I ponied up and got some better stuff. I need to talk to Sven about audio setups. So the good news is some of these commissions are bringing in some dollars, and I'm squeaking by, buying meals, and I might have enough because of the popularity of the Tomcast. I might invest in some better audio, and then if I have a good microphone, then maybe I can do some other stuff. Maybe I can do some beatboxing, make some soundtracks. Maybe I could sing some songs. Who knows where it can lead? Maybe I can start having guests on the show. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Let me know who you think should be a guest. Would it be fun? Like, is it interesting? Would it be fun to have Tom have conversations with former coworkers and buddies about the game industry, art making? Maybe I can get a friend from the West Coast to do a Skype interview or Zoom meeting and talk about the state of the industry and ideas going forward. What do I like about games right now? Let's talk about things I think are cool in games and where I hope the industry is going in the future. Right now, I love builder games. I think games that have persistence and building are way cool. My favorite right now is probably Factorio, but I know people love Minecraft. I know people love Cities Skylines. No Man's Sky has this like long, persistent type thing, and you can build things with friends. My buddy Josh got me turned on to Satisfactory, and though while Satisfactory isn't my favorite game, uh, it is cool. What it allows you to do is definitely cool. Subnautica, I haven't played it yet. That's pretty cool. Something about persistence in a world where the player can edit and change the world around him is amazing. Civ did that. Worked on Civilization, Sid Meier's Civilization. Sid was brilliant in saying, let's take the idea of a tabletop board game where you're able to change the board and make it in the computer where it's interactive and animating and alive. It's really satisfying. It's really fun. I noticed when I was playing 7 Days to Die with friend Chad, my friend Jess, Lauren and Sven, back 3 years ago, I had so much fun building this post-apocalyptic zombie world with my friends and building forts and defending those forts against the zombie hordes. It's really satisfying. And I realized I was doing that more than making artwork. That my creative outlet is painting directly or drawing or making 3D models. But for most people who aren't artistically talented or who have never thought about making artwork, they can go to these games and have a creative outlet expressing themselves playing these video games. And I think it's wonderful. And now you have students like my nephew Tucker, who's playing around with Unreal Engine, and he's doing things with Fortnite that are pretty cool. Like, I don't even know what you can do with Fortnite, but I like that they can do stuff. I like that it's any new creative platform to help people problem solve is good for the brain. I love even like puzzles in Zelda, man. Like Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I just wish that I could build like my own little. Like, the one thing I wish Zelda had that Skyrim has is boxes that you can just drop all your gear in. Like, you only can store like 6 or 7 weapons at your house. Like 3 weapons and 3 bows is all you can store. But I pick up all this awesome gear, and I want to, you know, maybe they're just preventing me from being a hoarder. Buddy Josh is messaging me about hiking stuff. Very cool. What's up, Ryan? I see you like the message. You like the post. Good to hear from you. Ryan shared some good information about a reference app during the last broadcast. It's pretty cool. I can't wait, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of games that are coming down the pipe, I can't wait to see what Ryan's working on. Someday I'll get to see it, and I can't wait for it. Sometimes, like in the industry, like you have these things called NDAs, and you know a thing or two about a thing or two, and you can't say what it is publicly. And I don't even know. I don't even know. I have an inkling. I have a very gray inkling. But that's the thing about the community in Hunt Valley, in Maryland. A lot of these game companies are kind of proximal. There's something in the local style. I think the style of the game company has something to do with where the game is made. For instance, Half-Life 2. I love Half-Life 2. Who doesn't love Half-Life 2? One of the greatest shooters of all time. Has some puzzles, especially has the right pacing. Has wonderful storytelling, wonderful pacing, and technology that makes it somewhat hold up even till today. Some of the character animation is still the best in the games. The best in the game world when it comes to real-time, phoneme, lip-synced, expressive animation and stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, my stream seems to be cutting in and out. Hopefully it's okay for you guys. See if I can resume the stream. Maybe this works. I stopped and restarted the stream. I don't know. Hopefully it's working. Yeah, it looks like it works. Cool. Cool. This stuff's complicated, man. Streaming's complicated. I can see why Rogan needs a Jamie. He needs a Jamie to work on stuff. You lose your train of thought when you have to do technical management issues. I completely lost what I was talking about. The Hunt Valley style is what I was talking about. Here we're very colorful because I think the Mid-Atlantic's very colorful. Vibrant greens, a lot of flowers. Wintertime is somewhat brief relative to the North and the East Coast. So we get into spring. Spring's very brief and summer's really hot. So I think the colors of the games that are made in this area reflect that a little bit. And examples might be the Firaxis games like Sid Meier's Railroad. It's very bright and colorful. That was art directed by Greg Furch. And I think he loves, that art director loves a vibrant color palette. Civ Revolution and Civ 6, directed by Brian Busotti over at Firaxis, has a very bright, cool but bright palette, a lot like the blue of the water and stuff. Brian's from Pittsburgh, I believe, and I think growing up in Pittsburgh with the forests and the valleys and all the urban center, I think maybe colored his point of view of what the world looks like and therefore what games look like. Whereas Half-Life being made in Seattle, you can see the dreariness. There is some green, but the fall, dry season kind of colors too are work their way. The post-industrial decay of that game. There's a cool little park in Seattle called the Gas Works, and that reminds me a lot of scenes in Half-Life. They took this abandoned gas plant and then kind of painted over it and walled it up and then turned the area around it into a grassy park on the lake, and it's really pretty and nice. And that relationship, like urban and water, is common in Half-Life 2. And the big city 17 like spire in the middle is kind of like the Space Needle in Seattle. So there's these parallels. I think if you go back to the mid 2000s, Infinity Ward did such a good job making Call of Duty look like the deserts of Iraq, because Los Angeles is a desert. They're surrounded by desert. I think Texas, you got Borderlands. I think Borderlands 1 and 2 look kind of like Austin, Texas, or areas of Texas around that area. You know what? I haven't been to Austin, Texas. I just assume it looks kind of like that. I've been around the South. I've been around Houston, Corpus Christi, and San Antonio. So yeah, San Antonio and Borderlands seems like they kind of go hand in hand, like that. So I think it's interesting how Japanese games have a lot of European flair to it. And maybe it's not because it's European flair. Maybe it's actually just Japan looks kind of like Europe. Like they're in a similar zone of climate and things that, you know, we think of these places as being so alien and weird and different, but then if you actually go there and see pictures, oh yeah, it could be California. It could be like somewhere between California and Bavaria in some areas of Japan. Now, the way that the people garden and build their society is different. Their architecture is clearly different, but is the landscape that much different? Is it really that different? The Grand Canyon's very different. That's certainly distinct. Central Australia is pretty distinct. New Guinea, Belize, the Amazon, stuff like that. But it is interesting, like the Miyazaki films do a lot, maybe suggesting a European setting, and I don't know where that comes from. It's kind of fascinating. There's kind of a fascination with Europe in a lot of anime. And I mean, clearly in American cinema too. Like, look at all the James Bond motion pictures. I mean, how many location spots are there? Like, a lot of talk about A lot of demonstration of beautiful architecture, European cars, European ports of call, Caribbean, Latin America, Asia. It's real Condé Nast, like traveler of the world kind of thing. So what am I doing? I'm drifting away from what I was going to do, which is the helicopter. I have some reference. Let's see. Baltimore PD. So let's see if I can get some of those details into the drawing here. Got 3 watchers. Say hi. Say hi if you're watching. Just be like, yo, what up? And then I can say hi back because I can't tell who's watching right now. Or you can just lurk and be anonymous. That's cool too. You could be lurking out there saying like, what crazy thing is Tom going to say that's going to get him in trouble today? And that could be a drinking game. What inadvertent character damaging soundbite can we get at a Tom today? Still playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. I just got the entire rubber suit, anti-lightning suit. I know most people probably got that pretty early in the game. I'm already at like 20-something hearts. Yes, I did already defeat Ganon once, but I'm going back to get the rest of the armor sets and get all the shrines. I think I have 110 shrines done, so I think there's 10 left. I think it's 120. What an amazing game, though. Just absolutely incredible. So this, the text is kind of a teal. Police. Tell you, if you have the finances to do it, I recommend a helicopter ride once in your life. Even if it's the 10-minute ride at the fair. There's a county fair, and they have a guy flying a helicopter, and it's like $100 for 10 minutes. Just do it. Just do it once. It's cool to see that transition, to be in an object that flies up. It feels like you're in science fiction. Like you pretend you're Han Solo in the Falcon rising up over Mos Eisley. It's cool. It's cool seeing it once. I had the privilege of getting a flight around Los Angeles about 10 years ago. Got to fly up the coast over Malibu and Venice and Santa Monica. Saw the Santa Monica Pier. Saw a bunch of surfers. Flew downtown. Came down the 5. Saw Hollywood Hills. Just really cool to see the world from that perspective, and also to see how empty the world is at 500 feet. Like there's not a lot around you. It's weird to go from surface level. We have traffic and people and cars and houses and trees and all these obstacles. And then you get up to 200 feet and there's suddenly nothing in your way. There's only like a dozen buildings that are at that height. Maybe a couple hills you have to avoid. That's why the thing with Kobe is so tragic. Like the fact that the weather scenario. What's up, Drew? Yeah, Drew! Do the Arsenio Hall. Drew! What's up? What's up? What's up? How's your July 2nd? Are you feeling historic today? Just talking about Kobe, man. Like, helicopter crash, dude. I feel like no one's going to fly helicopters again. That whole Uber service where they were going to be flying people in like California and New York City. Who's going to risk that, man? Too dangerous. The weather. So what I read about the Kobe crash was weather shifted and dude who was flying did not have like good instrumentation slash. He didn't have a flight plan. He didn't have a clear flight plan for what he was going to be doing. So he couldn't just quickly fly by instruments according to a pre-made flight plan because something changed. I want to say the route had changed because of airspace requirements. It's actually kind of fascinating. It's worth going into the YouTube videos talking about what happened with Kobe's helicopter because it was like a series of failures, just like everything. Like anything that turns into a massive casualty is not just one mistake. It's usually multiple cascading problems. And in this case, it was maybe a fuel issue. It was like a loose flight plan issue. It was originally flying in one weather condition, and the clouds were lower than they really should have been. It's like right on the edge of, is it safe to fly in these kind of foggy, windy, cloudy conditions? And between being at 250 feet where everything's clear and 270 feet where it's in the clouds, like suddenly your whole view of everything changes. And in a helicopter, because of G-forces in the clouds, it's really, if you're moving and turning, it's really hard to tell where up and down are, because if you're in a turn, you're starting to feel G's in your seat. So the pilot just kind of lost where he was visually and didn't have good instrumentation or real understanding of what his helicopter was doing when you just fly by instruments. Real shame. Like, just totally avoidable. Just real. Drew, what are you doing for the 4th? You gonna go sailing? Get on the water? Hope you do. I would love to be on the water. I would love to be on the water. Miss it. Might be hiking. I think the berries are out right now. The blackberries, wineberries. Thinking about going down to Oregon Ridge Park and scooping some of them up because there's acres of berries over there right now. A couple years ago, Baltimore County cleared a lot of trees in Oregon Ridge. And guess what grew instead? Berries. Growing up in Connecticut, my mom and I go out with buckets on our street on Erskine Road, North Stamford. And we'd be walking along the side of the road, kind of narrow road, a little dangerous, side of the road, looking for berries along the road. So those berries spread with where the wind goes, right? So it might be a car going by, a truck, something like that, lift up something. Drew says, Mike, go out on the boat. Yup. Do it, dude. Pretend you're Captain Farragut on the boat, commanding the Union flotilla outside of Alabama, assaulting a fort. Freedom! Damn the torpedoes! Full speed ahead. That's what Farragut said, man. After losing 2 of his ships to Confederate mines, and they took Mobile, Alabama. The Navy. That was in the Navy. It was on the USS Lexington, aircraft carrier. I'm not crazy about the ocean. It's cool. But would I join the Navy? Yeah, maybe. It'd be cool to be a pilot. It'd be a really hard job. I love that 80s Cold War naval thriller, The Hunt for the Red October. How dope was that movie, right, Drew? The movie's still awesome. 1 ping for Shirley. 1 ping only. So you see me looking away, it's because I'm looking at some. I have reference here of what the helicopter looks like. Looks like I have 5 blades, and the helicopter only has 3 in reality. So I need to change that real quick. We can get rid of this one and this one, and then make this guy a little bit blurry. Something like that. Something. I love how things, the mechanics of how stuff works. The fact that helicopters work at all is just amazing. Some dude's like, hey, there's this idea that airplanes can fly because you have airspeed going over a wing that creates lift through the Bernoulli effect. Same thing with sailing. What's up, L? L says love is in the house. Well, my love hopefully can be felt in your house telepathically, remotely to L. Thank you for saying what up. What up? Eliezer, ladies and gentlemen. Talented, man. L, the painting you gave me, dude, I smile every time I look at it. It is so awesome. Well, it's a marker drawing, but it's still dope as heck. It is of Deadpool and Cable fighting the Juggernaut. And it's got all these rocks and explosions, and those guys look dope. And like Deadpool is like upper, is it up? Deadpool's on top, and Cable's underneath, uppercutting the Juggernaut, and it's dope. And I want to do a little bit of homage to that piece in here with like all the debris and like crazy things. Like I just want to make some massive destruction going on, and like L does the explosions so well. Eliezer, ladies and gentlemen. You follow him on Facebook if you don't already. His drawings of superheroes are dope. So much fun. Just like rocks and all kinds of things. So we got the Domino Sugar Factory is like blowing through Federal Hill and Locust Point. It's like, I'm on my way. And it scared the pink poodle out of the Visionary Art Museum. I'm getting the heck out of here. Blue crab. What's going on? Union forces on top of Federal Hill with the cannons ready to go behind the barricades. Watching the Civil War history, man, it's amazing the amount of trench digging late in the war. 1864. You have Petersburg, and you have oh man, what was the one in the west that Sherman was fighting in? Petersburg was outside of Richmond in Virginia. It's the one on the left. I'm forgetting the one on the Tennessee River. But you had prototypical World War I conditions with siege, trench, warfare, cannon, artillery. I'm sure there were generals from Europe who were looking at what was going on in 1864 and saying, like, this might happen in Europe someday. We probably should start to come up with tactics and strategies. And I think the number one lesson was the artillery and indirect fire at the time. The siege weapons were powerful, but not enough to overwhelm the fortifications of that time. And just the field conditions were just brutal. Like there's something called the Sanitary Commission that came out of the Civil War that just got decent food for the soldiers. Like what the average trooper had to deal with in that time period, the months, the 8 months sitting outside of Petersburg in brutal conditions with bad food. The logistics were super important. Like how do you use the trains to get fresh food and shoes and clothes and medicine to the front line to help the soldiers out? Just amazing. If you want to see the transition, I really do believe the American Civil War is the pivotal transition between what war used to be and what modern war would become. It was the precursor of total war, the idea of total war, which is what like Hitler, I think, declared, like we're the entire strength of the nation, civilian and otherwise, is put towards a war effort. It's either all or nothing. L said, "I glad." No, that was a good man. L's a great example of how not everything can go the way you think, but still going to be good. Well, and I talk about he's been very supportive lately, and about how maybe things didn't go according to plan, but it doesn't mean it still isn't good. What did I say the other week? It's not great, but it works. Like McDonald's coffee, it ain't great, but it works. And sometimes, like, you got to take a job. Sometimes you get really excited about a job, and it doesn't work out very well. And then you get another job, and you're like, hey, this ain't great, but it works. I'm able to work. I'm not talking about your current job. I'm just talking about stories in the past, and stories in my past, too. And everything leads you to somewhere else. Right? Everything leads you somewhere else. We're going a little purple. Learned from my friend Joanne that it's good when you have to go dark, why not have some color in it? So we got this Raven guy. Instead of just painting all black, we're going to leave it a little purple. I need to get reference for the Raven dude. But the idea is, you just want to throw a little color in it, throw a little cool colors, get it kind of exciting. What's going on, Al? What are you guys doing for the 4th? Eliezer, are you barbecuing? You grilling? Drew was saying he's going to be on the boat. He's going to be doing his best impersonation of Captain Farragut, storming Mobile, Alabama. You gonna launch fireworks from the boat, Drew? A little cannon, little mini cannon, one of those tiny ones. I want one of those. I want one of those little black powder cannons. Those are dope. No reenactments this year, I don't think. No Civil War reenactments. Dude, if you're an American, you got to go to a Civil War reenactment once. Just fly out to the East Coast. I've been to the Battle First Manassas. There's 8,000 reenactors. Gettysburg I've been to twice. They usually get like 1,000 reenactors, some artillery, some mortar demonstrations, some cavalry stuff. What's amazing is just how hot it is. Like, you're hot in a t-shirt and shorts outside of Gettysburg, and you're in the stands with maybe a couple thousand other people. This is pre-COVID. I don't know if they're going to do this in the future with COVID. And there's guys out there in the field, and you're sweating just sitting there, and they're in full wool uniforms. Wool. These guys are drenched. And then you imagine trying to run up Little Round Top in full wool gear, carrying like 30 pounds of ammo and rifle. The guys are amazing. Can you imagine how dehydrated every soldier was fighting the Civil War? It must have been delirious. I get winded just running up 100 yards of my hill out here. That's why I wasn't a soldier. Asthma and bad vision and no discipline. Dude, I don't know how my cousin did it. I got a cousin who was in the Rangers. 375th. Cousin, First Sergeant. Nate Lignetto. American baller. Dude. Forever respect for what you did for the country. Global war on terror, man. Dude's got like 8 tours of duty, 12 tours of duty. Something like that. Dropped into airfields and captured them. Yes. So I don't know how do you do it, dude. If Nate's ever on the channel, I would love to know, how do you deal with the lack of water? I know there's some incredible fitness. The Ranger Fitness Challenge. I was just looking at that. Ranger Fitness Challenge does this 12-week program, and the first day is like 100 push-ups, like 100 sit-ups and pull-ups and stuff. And by like week 12, like you're doing like hundreds of push-ups, hundreds and hundreds of push-ups, runs, sprints. Like, these guys are jacked. These are so diesel. It's like the Chris Pratt workout when he was trying to be a SEAL Team guy. He was a SEAL Team 6 guy in 0 Dark 30. And Chris Fat became A-lister when he was doing 300 push-ups a day, getting ready for that movie. 300 push-ups a day. I could do like 30, maybe. Like 3 sets of 10. Maybe. Drew says, awesome. I was thinking about how to do fireworks off the boat. Cool like. Cool like. What I would do is get a Pringles can, and that would be your cannon tube. And then you have a little like breech loading system. So you get 2 Pringles cans, and you cut the bottom off, and you have your plastic top and bottom. And you can like breech load, like take the cap off the bottom and like put your shells in back there. And you cut like a little hole in the top of the lid, like a coffee lid, and then you can stick your bottle rocket in the coffee lid at the back, like so you're like breech loading the back of that Pringles can tube, and then you use other cardboard, like some pizza boxes, and you get some coffee can, you make a little cannon out of it, like little wheels, little side kind of thing. Make a little true can, spray paint it. That's what you should do. Problem is burning plastic. Maybe you put some aluminum foil, like some aluminum foil on the bottom of that cap with just a little hole in it. So you got foil, the cap, Pringles can, and then this looks filthy. But the bottle rocket is like sitting. Bottle rocket's legal in Maryland. It's gonna be nuts up here, dude. Look, we got Phantom fireworks over. I can see Phantom fireworks from my house. I can see Phantom fireworks in Shrewsbury, and dude. I know this weekend I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. It's just America, off to save the mother, yeah, America. We're going to do it pretty short today. It seems like the average viewer time is like 30 minutes. So it's going to, what do I need? I'm going to do a little, let's study some crab real quick. Blue crab, right? Maryland blue crab? Maryland blue crab. So we got to get some reference images. Crabs, crabs and crabs. I want to see the belly. What does the belly look like? Got little red tips. Look at this guy. Guy's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. This is the guy. This is the image I was looking at for reference before. So we got the red tips. It's pretty cool. Like anytime you get a little red, it makes it look like it's bloody and lethal and stuff, right? So we got red tips there, and then it's a cream color. The light in this piece is a little weird. I'm trying to think, like, the issue with lighting here, have the sun just above in the middle of the scene, and geographically, the sun probably wouldn't be there in Baltimore. For the sun to be up, and this is looking north by northwest. West by northwest? Something like that. Drew can correct me here, because you've sailed in and out of the harbor a bunch, I think. If you're going into the harbor past the aquarium, you're going due west. So for the sun would not be very high. Like in real life, the sun would probably be like over here, maybe, if it was like 2 o'clock on a sunny afternoon day, summer afternoon day, something like that. So I'll have to change the lighting a little bit on Marching Man, and then kind of warm up everything on this side of the buildings. Might cause shadow on the other side, maybe. But I want things to be illuminated also, like to be lit well to be seen, but also like some kind of suggestion of what the actual light is. It's like wedding photography is so complicated because you gotta, like, if people are looking directly in the sun, it's way too bright and their eyes are all squinty. So you want them looking away from the sun, but then they're going to be underexposed and darkened. So you have usually an assistant photographer that's got a big reflective disc. It's one of these unfolding reflector discs, and they can shine bounce light back. It's basically like taking a white sheet of paper and illuminating the side of my face like this. Drew says, "You got it." I think Drew's referring to my idea of the bottle rocket cannon shooter thing. Bottle rocket cannon shooter thing. Have you heard of the can cannon? I got a buddy who has one of those. It's an AR-15 lower and upper, but just a big tube, and it perfectly takes a soda can, and you can use blanks to launch a soda like 100 yards. Thing's awesome. Awesome. Not legal everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. I do not think you can have a can cannon in Maryland. But Pennsylvania shoots tennis balls. Thing is sweet. You gotta make some blanks though. I don't know how hard it is to get blank AR ammo. Can cannon. Can cannon is dope. You get a can cannon, a whole bunch of Sunkist, a field that you don't mind cleaning up afterwards, and some shotguns, and you do your own like redneck shot put / trap game. Who can shoot the Sunkist out of the sky with some bird shot? It's a good game. Pretty fun. Pretty fun. Well, I hope y'all out there be safe with your 4th weekend. Be really careful about the fireworks. Wear safety protection if you have it. Glasses around exploding devices are not a bad idea. You don't want to singe your corneas. It'd be bad if you're at the range, if you're with somebody, you got an uncle, crazy Uncle Bob who's got an arsenal, and you're shooting guns for the first time. Be careful. Wear ear protection, eye protection, trigger control. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot something. Be aware of your target, what's behind it. Make sure there's a backstop. Flat ground, stuff can ricochet. I've seen it. Rounds hit the dirt, go flying off. Still kind of sketchy. Have a backstop. Put your target in front of a bunch of dirt or a wall, something, if you're out shooting guns, ladies and gentlemen. Because that is something you can do in America. Some places in America. You can go into the wilderness and light a couple off. Have some fun with your friends. See what your marksmanship. Celebrate the victory at Gettysburg of the Union over the Confederate, over Lee. I did not know that Arlington Cemetery was Lee's property. Did you know that? That was Lee's house. General Lee lived in Arlington, and there were so many bodies coming up from the war that Washington D.C. needed a place to bury the dead, and that was General Lee's front yard. It's pretty wild. Raven time. I should be looking at reference. What am I doing? I got off of the crab. I got crab reference. I'm drawing the raven over here. Let's go back to the crab. What do we got? We got a little like brownish, like this. All right, this is where we do some learning because Tom does not eat a lot of crabs, so I'm not familiar with crab anatomy, crabatomy. Dude, I'm super glad I was not born a crab. I mean, that's the cosmic dice roll, man. If you're going to get born on planet Earth, there is at least a 1 in a billion chance that you could be some kind of 8-legged monster from the ocean. My image is kind of small here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if I can enlarge it at all. Crab. Oof. That and the sun. Oh, Drew's talking about the sun. Cool. Cool. Yeah, be careful out there, man. You don't want to get a firework in the face. Don't burn your fingers. Stay away from the M80s. Don't blow your fingers off. Stay away from tannerite. We'll be making binary explosives out there, ladies and gentlemen. That is an ATF. Hey, what did we learn about the protests? Don't mess around with Molotov cocktails. You go to jail for a long time. You go through a Molotov at a cop, and yeah, you're breaking a whole bunch of laws. Number one, you manufactured an explosive object. Yeah, ATF ain't going to be too happy about that. And number two, that is a very lethal weapon. And you go to jail for a long time if they catch you. So don't do that. And plus, I don't think the cops need to be burned alive. I like the police. I'm good friends with some police. They're pretty good people. A lot of them are pretty good people. Yeah, man. That guy in St. Louis was not St. Louis. Minneapolis, St. Paul, maybe not such a nice guy. Murdered a dude. That ain't cool. My prediction, I think that dude in St. Louis is going to get manslaughter and do like 25 years. And then I think due to the Wendy's in Georgia and Atlanta is going to move. I don't think he's going to get jail time. I think he's going to go somewhere else. He's going to move with his family and get another cop job working somewhere else. That's what I think. Maybe security. If you haven't watched The Wire, you got to watch The Wire. The show's awesome. About Baltimore, about drugs. I think, man, if we just if we just ended the war on drugs and kind of treated, maybe this is above my pay grade, this is too complicated, but I would like to see the war on drugs be kind of scaled back a little bit. When people talk about militarizing the police, though, I think that's ignorance. Like, the police are responding to what criminals are doing. Like, anyone who thinks that the police are overarmed is ignorant, either willingly or just naive to what the threats are, what the threats that exist to the police exist out there. Like the amount of cops that are shot. Hang on, who's calling? I don't know. It looks like a 503 number. I have no idea what that is. I think they're ignorant to the threats that police have. Like the response, the civilian criminals have always outgunned the police historically. Go back to Dillinger. Go back to Pretty Boy Floyd. Go back to the Wild West, where criminals were the first to adopt the revolvers. I was listening to a thing about Texas Rangers. Maybe it was Rogan talking about Texas Rangers were the first to adopt the Colt revolvers to fight off the Indians, the Comanche out there, because the Comanche were more lethal with their bows and arrows than the settlers, who only had like one-shot muskets and one-shot pistols. And the Colt revolver really changed the game. When one man could have 6 shots before reloading, changed the game. So you could be on horseback, catching up with Comanche, and Outlaw Josie wails it. Get into a fight over your homestead. So you look at, like back, what was it, 1920, 1919, the Tommy gun was invented for World War I, and it was really expensive. It was like $200 at that time, which is a lot of money back in 1919. So some of the soldiers had it, but the cops really didn't have it. And these, you could mail order a machine gun back in those days from the Sears Roebuck catalog, and these bank robbers had enough money to buy all the Tommy guns, whatnot. The Highwaymen was a good movie. Kevin Costner, Woody Harrelson, talking about Bonnie and Clyde. They were armed up. 1991 Hollywood shootout. You had some full body armored bank robbers with fully automatic AK-47s with armor-piercing ammunition, and they were lighting some cops up. I don't think any cops died, but man, the destruction that those two dudes did in an afternoon was intense. Cops had to run to the local gun store to get AR-15s and hunting rifles to shoot back because their pistols weren't penetrating the armor of the Hollywood shooter. That footage is incredible. So the war on drugs had to become a war because it's a reaction to the militarization of the criminal element. The criminals had some serious firepower, and the police had to respond with protection of their own. When it comes to military vehicles, these MRAPs and stuff, like, well, they were just going to be scrapped. One of the problems, I know this somewhat secondhand because my brother did some investigations. My brother Tim was retired lieutenant colonel in the Army and went over to Iraq. Part of Army Center Lessons Learned to document what's going on with these armor-protected, mine-resistant vehicles, the MRAP. And he was saying what they found is like they were just kind of rushed into service. Like, they're not really great, but they just protected the troops against ground IEDs, but they weren't really awesome for driving around cities. But they had this incredible ground clearance, but they have poor off-road capability. They're really top-heavy, so they can flip easy and stuff. So the Army was just going to get rid of them. Been thought, like, well, maybe there's all this armor and protection could be useful for SWAT operations. Like, SWAT wants to go bust into a drug house, and they don't want to get shot, but they want to knock a whole wall down. They can just, like, plow into the side of a building, clear the wall out, back the truck back out, and then the SWAT team can go in. Instead of going through a fatal funnel, which is one doorway, where only one guy can get through at a time, that dude gets shot, the dude behind him gets shot, the dude behind him gets shot. SWAT teams want to bust as big of a hole as they can. So you get a truck to drive through a house, huge hole, and then you got to have cops, multiple cops coming in at the same time, swarm clear, do all that kind of stuff. Houston flooding proved that having some MRAPs in the police force was awesome for rescue. Search and rescue in a flood condition, those vehicles have like force. Like, the engine is so high up off the ground because of it being a mine-resistant vehicle that they could drive through some deep, deep water, like 4 feet. Like 4 feet of water, these MRAPs are still able to drive through and do search and rescue. Militarization. I mean, just because something looks like it's something a soldier could wear doesn't mean it's valid. Like, is wearing a camelback a militarized hiking? Because that's a military invented thing. Like the military adopted camelbacks, and is now like if you're wearing a U.S. surplus like camelback when you're in your hiking, sipping some water, are you a militarized hiker? I don't think so. 50 minutes in here, ladies and gentlemen. So drawing grass again. I'm supposed to be. God, it's so easy to get distracted, Tom. You gotta focus, dude. That's what happens when Tom has a Starbucks iced coffee with whole milk, cream. It's crazy. Just crazy, ladies and gentlemen. This has been fun. This has been really fun to stream and share some drawing with you guys, share my thoughts. Would be I gotta give a shout out to Talia, who got me started on the whole. I don't think she did this intentionally, but I started streaming because of a group, like a little art making club that she started, and I wanted to share some knowledge in that club. We got away from that art club for a while. You know, I haven't done anything with that in a month or two, but it was a good idea. Sometimes one idea leads to another. That's why you gotta expose yourself to all sorts of things. All sorts of things. Got a lot of really good feedback on the gun paintings I did. So I think I'm gonna do. I gotta do a 3D model of one of those projects. Let me see if I have. Yeah, this was a commission for a guy named Ben on the internet, and I just drew a couple of his rifles. He's got a lot of good feedback. So people are like, Tom, it's amazing what you can do when you actually care about your subject matter. Yeah, I agree. When you're really interested in it. This is a piece of advice I give my students, anyone who wants to listen. Like, if you're in college working on your thesis, it's probably better to pick something you like doing over picking something that you think people will like, because if you like it, you're going to put more work into it. What's really important is people see your work ethic. So might as well pick something you enjoy, because you want to do more work in it. Man, that's part of college, is just figuring out what you like, figuring out what your subject matter is. It's a shame. Too many kids are just going through the motions growing up in high school and middle school, not thinking about what they can do with their career. You can start as early as age 8 thinking about what's something you would want to do productively with your adulthood. And I think parents are pushing their kids towards sports and social things and how to be fun, how to be a person in society. But my mom got me thinking really early, from a very young age, about, hey, you're watching Star Wars. Did you know that there are people who run the video cameras? There's people in the art department, people who make those sets, and people who act. That's 5,000 jobs in Star Wars. You could be doing one of those jobs and be getting paid. We started thinking about that. So I thought about videography, and I thought about acting, and I thought about drawing, and building sets, and designing spaceships and stuff, Legos, ever since I was like 8. Believe it or not, that'd be really cool to make spaceships for a living one day. And I think that led me to the arts, and then the arts led me to a career in video games, man. Went to art school, kind of got recruited from Micah. Get excited about people doing game stuff, so I owe a thank you to all the people who are involved with that. I think back in the day it was Greg Furge, and Busati, who I mentioned before, and my friend Dorian, and who else was at Micah? There was people from Level 13, The Simpsons, who came. Dave Inscore was there a lot, back when he was involved with big, huge games. My buddy Jay Gillen, guy I went to school with, who's super talented. Craig Thompson, I think he still works for Aberdeen. A lot of people. My buddy Chris Kaufman worked on The Mandalorian. That show is so good. So good, Mandalorian. My buddy Chris Kaufman did some of the environmental stuff on the desert planet. Bad. Yes, I was looking for you, Chris, in the making of. I was trying to see if you were in the background somewhere. I know you were on set, but I couldn't see your pretty face with that man beard you have. Miss that guy, my buddy Chris Kaufman. Good dude. Good dude. See, look, I'm getting away from the crab again. This is supposed to be about focus. Focus. Got 3 people watching. Thanks for watching. Who's still watching out there? I would assume it's probably Drew, and I would assume maybe L. Maybe L's still watching. I don't know who the third is. Maybe Savannah? Who's here? Say what up. Let me know what your 4th of July plans are. What do you think about The Mandalorian? I think it's dope. And I love a good Western, too, though. Outlaw Jersey Wales. We were watching that movie. So I'm just tracing, not tracing's the wrong word, I'm copying what I'm seeing from this reference picture of a crab, and I will be adapting it to the lighting environment of the scene that it's in. So drawing is a way I'm learning about the world. Every project I worked on at Firaxis or other game companies involved a lot of research. What's the visual language of the subject matter I'm conveying? Something else worth talking about. What should I talk about? Ask a question in the comments. If you guys are curious about something. Drew says, love all the sci-fi stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Love me some science fiction. I want to watch that Expanse on, is it Amazon, Netflix, Hulu? Not really sure what the Expanse is on. Drew says, this is a great Baltimore piece, by the way. So cool. Thanks, dude. I know you know a lot about Baltimore. You grew up around the Baltimore. And this is not my idea, but I am thrilled to be a part of it. Spent a little time in Baltimore. For you who don't know me that well, I went to school at the Maryland Institute College of Art. 4 years living in Baltimore City, in Bolton Hill. It's cool. It's cool that those houses were built like pre-Civil War. And all those brownstones. A lot of history there. Pretty hot city. No Artscape this summer. What do you think about that, Drew? No Artscape. It's weird. I saw it was pretty funny. Someone said about Artscape, well, how will we know what the hottest weekend of the summer is? Artscape's not happening. That's always the hottest weekend of the summer. July 22nd, something like that. Right around my birthday, on the 26th. I believe I share a birthday with the great comedian and actor Robin Williams. The late, great Robert. Man, what a loss. I love that movie, Hook. It's a little creepy. It's a little creepy now, but when I was growing up, I loved Hook. Now, what's going on with this arm? There's like all these funky joints on the crab boss here. Man, life is so weird. You ever watch those documentaries like Blue Sea or Blue Planet or Planet Earth? And like just the wild variation of life. Like, can you imagine breathing with gills? Like you don't have lungs, you're not breathing anymore. You're just kind of absorbing oxygen from the mineral world around you all the time. Do you think if a crab inhales some like bad water, it coughs? Is there a crab cough? Is there a crab version of COVID? What would that look like? Probably horrific. It's probably like crab choking. They probably don't make too much noise, do they? Crabs make noise? Do they squeak or something? Probably not, right? Because they don't have lungs to like vocalize. Make clicking sounds? No idea. It's got these red spikes. What's kind of interesting is like this red spike on the crab is going to be echoed again with the red spikes on the dragon boat that's down here. I gotta figure out how to paint all the shadows underneath the rusty scupper. Man, I want some crab soup so bad right now. That crab bisque. Drew, I don't know if you're aware of this. One of the greatest deals in Baltimore, Baltimore County, Baltimore City, the Beltway, is Das Beer Hall has the food to go. You can order the crab pretzel, German pretzel with crab meat on it, and then you can get a 32-ounce orange crush for like $5. It's awesome. It's like this big. You can pour 3 pints out of it, like 3 pint glasses worth, in like one. So it's got to be more than. It's got to be like 40 ounces then. It's got to be more than 32. I remember getting one for $5, and 3 of my friends had drinks, and it was awesome. It's one of the best deals. Up in Parkville, Harford Road, Das Beer Hall. This crab is just messing up, rusty scupper. So I'm getting you back for cooking a bazillion of my brethren. The crab boss. It's cool. Back at Flugtag, Red Bull Flugtag, 2006, Baltimore. Made a flying train thing. Didn't really fly very well, but it was fun. I think Drew was there for that. Drew, did you come to Flugtag? I know your brother was there. Dustin was there with Nicole. That was fun. It was pretty cool. There was Max's Tap House in Fells Point. Made a giant flying crab. It was red. It was pretty dope. It's a tri-wing. It looked kind of like the Red Baron's aircraft from World War I. Drew says, live close to Das Beer Hall. Yep, I was there. Well done. Hey, that was wild, dude. I jumped into the Inner Harbor, and the Baltimore Fire Department took my clothes and burned them after I was in the waters of the Inner Harbor. Glad to have done it once. Don't need to do that again. It was weird jumping off that pier. So we were 30 feet up on this pier pushing a locomotive airplane off the end. And I never jumped into a body of water from that high before. Like I've always been too scared to go off the high dive. So we're 30 feet up, and I jump with my group off into the harbor, and I was in the air long enough to think about being in the air and seeing the skyline like change per parallax view. I had time to think of it. I'm like, wow, this is a long time to be in the air for. Whee! Seeing the skyline change and then splash and then being underwater for what felt like an eternity. And then having Baltimore like fire rescue pick me and my buddy up on these like sleds on the back of jet skis and haul us out of the Inner Harbor. That was pretty wild, dude. The water's so gross. They're telling us in the safety brief for Flugtag, like, whatever you do, don't drink any water. And if you do, if you swallow water, tell us immediately because we need to rush you to an ER and have your stomach pumped. They took our clothes off, ran me through a 3-part chemical shower in the back of a fire truck. Psh, psh, psh. Here's some shorts. Here's some gym shorts. T-shirt and a hoodie. And I forgot to bring underwear, so me and my buddies were just free balling in Baltimore the whole afternoon. It was unbelievable. We did a party at the top of the Science Center. Had Red Bull vodkas all day. We were so tired. We hadn't slept in like 3 days. Did interviews with the news media like 4 a.m. the day before. Flugtag. 70,000 people came out. What fun. 70,000. That was 14 years ago, man. Baltimore Flugtag. Flugtag. Let's do a little. Maybe we'll end the video with a little Flugtag recap. I got some footage somewhere of it. 440 American Flyer was the name of my team. Yeah, here we go. Come on, load it up. It's probably, here we go. Here's the pier, and there's the train plane, and there it goes. Smash right into the harbor. Let's watch it again. Here we go. Here's our awesome plane. 50,000 people. Oh. It looked like it was gonna fly, man. We had the night before there was a good crosswind, and it actually took up off its. Man, I'm amazed my friend Sean that was in that thing when it took off didn't die. Like he didn't get. He might have gotten concussed. We had a pretty serious wingspan on that thing. It was legit. It was legit. That was awesome. Let me see if I have another footage of it somewhere. What else do we have on my YouTube page? We got some Flugtag stuff. Purple People Eaters was here. This was a fun group. They had like a giant purple like dragon monster thing. They had a big old dance. My friend Randy was on that team. They had a little steam thing. Here we go. Let's see them push it off. You can't get much speed up there. Can't get a whole lot of speed. There it goes. Did I have the crab? There's an Aladdin one. This guy's on a magic carpet. I think this is my friend Rich. Rich Del Grand, I think. I think that's Rich. Yes! That's amazing. Yeah, I think that was Rich. Good dude. Yeah, man. Good times. Baltimore Flugtag. Alright, since it's Civil War weekend, we'll show one video. This is footage I took from Ball's Bluff, Union Retreat. This was cool. This reenactment was neat to be at because there was like 1/3 of the actual Ingate. How do I say this? Reenactors, there's never enough reenactors to fully do the full reenactment, right? Like if there was 100,000 people at Gettysburg, you might get like 8,000 reenactors. Well, Ball's Bluff was a battle of like 3,000 real people, 1,500 on each side, and this reenactment had 500 on each side. So it was pretty close to what the battle actually was. It was only 1/3 smaller. So 1/3 scale reenactment of the actual battle on the actual place too. It was really neat to see, like in the woods, how that smoke from the black powder guns, pow 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 pow, it echoes off the hills, and it gets blindingly cloudy in just a couple rallies. It was really cool to be here and see this. And there's guys in the woods that are fighting. There's guys in the field that are fighting, and it's just this chaos, this chaotic scene. Fog of war is a real thing. I think the Union lost this battle and was forced back into the river and lost their gear, but it was really cool. Went down there and got some footage for a video game that never came out. I would love to remake someday the Sid Meier's Gettysburg. Would be awesome. Would love to do that. Love to do that. Hey, it's been about an hour, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit over. We have 4 viewers right now. I'll wrap this up soon. Any questions, comments, thoughts about the weekend? What are you going to do? What are you going to do as you go into this 4th of July weekend during COVID? Gonna grill? What are you going to do? I bought some Kobe steak, ladies and gentlemen. Kobe beef. Got 1 piece, half a pound, $12.50. Like a half pound of some Kobe strip steak. I don't think it's real Kobe. I think it's simulated Kobe. Or like locally grown Kobe style, which means the cows are just massaged and fattened up and fed beer and stuff. It's just delicious, well marbled meat. Got some hamburgers. Got some grapes. Looks like there's a little bit of red, just kind of on the tip. It's kind of plasticky, their shell. It gets so smooth that it's a little reflective. So I just want to get those like little highlights. Plus, it makes it look a little wet. If you get little white highlights on stuff, it feels extra like slippery. Right? Plus, it makes it pop. That like little white highlight gives it contrast. So grateful to be here with you today, sharing some drawing time. Drew's in a meeting but still watching. Cool. Like that. Like that. Like that a lot. I think Drew is the #1 fan. He's always checking in. Drew's the guy. I need to do a painting of all you on the boat. You're gonna send me a crew picture this weekend, and I'll do a painting of it. Be a fun little side project. I do have to get back into doing some more 3D modeling. I've got to get my 3D modeling portfolio up to snuff. This will be the same with the volleyball courts back here. This Starbucks is some high octane stuff, man. This is intense. I'm not used to it. I got a big one of these, I wouldn't sleep for a day. What's your favorite 4th of July movie out there? I think I like all the war movies a lot when it comes to, like I said, Private Ryan, maybe kind of a Band of Brothers episode. Might be a fun 4th of July thing to watch. I used to like Mel Gibson's The Patriot, but Mel Gibson's just so weird now. Like all his like anti-Semitism, his tirades and stuff. It's not cool anymore. It used to be cool. I used to get down with some Lethal Weapon, a movie he did. Donald Glover, Danny Glover, back in the day. Donald Glover is Childish Gambino. Love him too. He's amazing. What's a good? I mean, I think that Die Hard movie is probably my favorite 4th of July movie. Die Hard 3 with Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis. They got the Johnny Comes Marching Home song playing the whole time. Jeremy Irons is the villain. Yeah, that's probably it. New York City, I love that one. With a Vengeance. Die Hard with a Vengeance. Is that it? Yeah, it's Vengeance because Jeremy Irons plays the brother of the guy Alan Rickman played in Die Hard 1. He's coming back to get vengeance on John McClane. Bruce Willis famously uses the Beretta 92 M9 style pistol in that series. He loves his Berettas. Berettas are cool, man. I'm a fan as well. This live video thing keeps cutting out. Keeps cutting out for me. It's probably time to kill it. 3:09 in the evening. Look, it's been fun. I'm gonna keep working on this, but I'm gonna give my voice a break and maybe field some phone calls. Yeah, making progress here throughout. Next, might take a break from this for the 4th weekend, but next week might come back to it. I'm liking how the crab is coming along. It feels a little bit more defined, and if I can just bring the rest of the scene to this kind of level with some resolution. Same with the trumpet blowing Baltimore Ohio Railroad steam train man. That kind of resolution for the whole painting, I think we'll be in good shape for this. This is probably going to be a 30-hour piece. 30-hour piece is what I'm thinking of so far. Right now we're probably 5 hours into it, 5-6 hours in. So if we're going to spend an hour at least per element, that's how it adds up. We just take this section and we say like hour, just across the whole thing. It's kind of how you do the math, real loosely on that. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great weekend, and know that I'm thinking about all y'all and hoping for the best. Be safe out there. Wear eye protection if you are around fireworks, and ear protection if you are around other kinds of explosives and firearms. Take care.